Okay, here's my take on this upcoming storm here, and what I'm thinking right now, and why I'm kind of looking at a pretty good hit for the Northeast as it looks at this point in time. And I like the trends in the models, and I want to show you the differences between the 0Z run and the 12Z run of the GFS, and where I think there can be more adjustments made to that. And this is the 0Z run, valid at 18Z on Tuesday. And a couple things I want you to notice here. One, here we have this upper level low way off here. We have a northern branch feature here. We have the blocking over the top here. Here's our southern branch feature. And take a look at this feature in the Pacific Northwest. And here it has the energy kind of sheared out like that. Now let's look at the 12Z run and look at these differences. First of all, this upper level low is much further west. We have the block here over the top. But look at this northern branch feature. It is much weaker, and it is not as progressive. It is not moving, shooting out as fast. And that's going to be a key to where this storm goes. You can see here it's already, into the eastern part of Lake Huron here. And here it's back across Lake Michigan. So, I mean, that's a very significant difference. It is not as strong. Also, look at this feature out in the Pacific Northwest off the west coast here. Remember I showed you that the energy here is all sheared out. Here, it's much more consolidated. And that's a common error of this model, is to shear out energy the more forward you go in time. And I'm going to show you that as we go forward here with the 12Z run. And also, look at the ridge here. It's much kind of flat here and much seeing more definition here. That's going to become much more pronounced going forward in time here. So let's do it. Let's go forward in time. Let's go forward about 6 hours. And you can see here, again, this is the 12Z run from, the 0Z run from last evening. Upper level low way out here, strong block over the top. Northern branch feature is rather strong. It is trying to be progressive and move ahead. It's leaving the southern branch feature behind here. But let's take a look at the 12Z run here. Much different. Here we have now the upper level low is moving away. But look at this. This northern branch feature is not nearly as progressive. And this southern branch feature is stronger. And look how much closer this is to a phase here. Look at the difference here. This is shooting out. That's not going to phase. And look at the difference here off the east coast. You can see here just a flat ridge. Here we're starting to develop a much more pronounced ridge. And remember we talked about the ridge out in the west. Look here. Here it's much flatter. Here it's really starting to build. And the reason for that is that this energy is still strong off the coast, and this trough is digging more, forcing the ridge to build across the Rockies and the high plains. We'll go forward another 6 hours here, and here we can really see some differences, particularly out west. And but first of all, let's take a look here. Here we can see here the northern branch feature still trying to shoot out. This feature here is not as strong, and here much different. Take a look at the difference here. This feature is shooting up, holding back here, and you can see it's starting to phase. And you can see here's our ridge off the coast. Look at the difference here in this wind flow. Look at the wind flow here. It's coming from the west, almost from the west. It's some west-southwest. Clearly a difference here with that as this system is phasing. Now here we're starting to run into those problems again with the GFS trying to shear out the energy off the Pacific coast. Remember here it's nicely consolidated, but here it goes, shearing it out. I'm thinking that is not going to be the case. I'm thinking you're going to see a much more defined energy source here, much more defined trough out here. But look at this ridge. Take a look at the difference in the ridge. Okay, look how it's much flatter here. It's much more pronounced here. There's much more amplitude to it here. And we're also seeing the axis a little bit further west too. Here's our ridge axis here on the 12Z. It's into the central Dakotas. But look here on the 12Z run. It's around the Montana-Dakota border here, Wyoming-Montana-Dakota border. So it is further west. And I think if we see this trough indeed be more pronounced, energy more concentrated, that this trough will be a little bit further west, and so will this ridge axis. This ridge axis may actually end up being over eastern or central Montana by the time all is said and done. Also, with this southern branch feature here, with it being stronger than the previous run showed, I'm thinking that this may be a little bit too fast for it moving out. This may be a little bit too progressive. That is a problem with another problem with the model, is that it can be too progressive. So instead of being right here, as Bernie pointed this out too, it might be back in here. And this feature here, if it's a little bit slower, and that is now the trend of the model, is that this is slower. So maybe instead of this trough being here, maybe it's more back here like this. Turn on the draw feature here. And maybe this trough is more, back here, like this. But I think you can clearly see the difference with this. And I'll turn that off. There we go. And how the model has progressed, and the difference, particularly in the northern stream here, how much slower this is. It is not trying to pull out. It is not leaving this piece behind. It is trying to phase, and the difference that makes in the offshore area here. Let's get this up. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I mean, you can see that this is just totally night and day. As far as how it's handling the system and what this means. And this is the big thing right here. You're going from winds southwest to west southwest to east northeast, pretty much taking the storm offshore. And now look, we have this. The winds are coming almost out of the due south here across the Carolinas and up into Virginia. So. This is very important as far as where the storm is going, and I think the pattern does favor this trend. So I think that these models that are showing the big snows up and across Pennsylvania down through Maryland and into the interior of Virginia, I think they make sense, and we'll see what happens going forward. But that's what I've been looking at. So wanted to share that with you guys, and let's hope that we finally get one to end the season with. All right.